You may have came across a viral video on social media, and I think it's worth talking about. It's a heartbreaking video showing a Holiday Inn employee in the middle of a mental episode. He's having a breakdown. It's very clear he's having a breakdown. And as it's happening, the person filming him, which is a customer, is incredibly cruel, is kind of bullying him throughout the process, and it's difficult to watch. In fact, it's so difficult to watch and so awful that we're not gonna show you the video, but I do think it's important to have a conversation about it because we're in this culture now of constantly filming people, constantly uploading video of people in their worst moments online. And then of course, the court of public opinion chimes in. In this case, clearly the person doing the filming went too far and the person who was on film needed help and unfortunately did not get any compassion from the customer over at the Holiday Inn. Now, there's also a part of this conversation that has to deal with whether Twitter, specifically where this video has gone viral, should take the video down, and I would argue it should. Now, even though we're not gonna show you the video because I wanna protect the identity of the person having the mental episode, I am gonna describe it so you understand just how serious it was. The video, which Tariq Nasheed posted on Twitter, shows the employee hitting himself before walking away in tears during an altercation with a customer who accused the hotel chain of, quote, stealing, end quote, his money. The alleged employee later posted on Reddit that he suffers from bipolar disorder and schizoaffective disorders. In the video, a customer asked the employee why he got mad and hit the computer and was talking or taking out frustrations that his company made a mistake on him. After responding that he hit the computer because he was mad, the employee repeatedly hits himself in the face and bangs his head against the computer monitor. It's really hard to watch. It's clear that he's really suffering there, right? Because he's not hitting anyone else, he's hitting himself and he's literally banging his head on the computer screen. So at that point, the customer asks, so is this the type of people they have working here? At that point, the employee walks away. He tries to go in the back. The employee says he has to go and that the customer ruined my night, ruined my whole life. He's crying while he's saying this. While the employee is audibly sobbing out of the camera view, the customer walks to the other side of the desk and continues filming. This should have never been posted online. And more importantly, the treatment of this employee by the customer was absolutely disgusting, horrific, and shows you the lack of compassion that we need to fight back against because clearly the employee here was struggling and needed help, and he didn't get the help or the compassion that he needed in that moment. So Cenk, before I give you more details, you wanna jump in?
Yeah, so look, this, what I'll call the attention economy has driven people to extremes. So if you watch that video, the fact that the guy filmed it in the first place, then put it up, and then won't take it down, and he keeps doubling down on it, it's unbelievable, it's sickening. It's one of the most callous things I've ever seen. The guy is clearly having significant mental issues as he keeps smashing his head against the computer and then sobbing. And instead of going, my God, are you okay? He's like, ha ha, basically like I got him. No, man, you didn't get him. That's just, you've got to have at least just an iota of human compassion. And this customer did. And by the way, later, the employee said, he called me the F word for being gay.
A gay slur.
Yeah. And so I don't know if that's true or not, but it doesn't seem. Anyway, you see the fact pattern here, and now you know what both have said. But everybody's so desperate for attention that since he's the guy who shot the video is getting so much attention for this, I think that's why he's saying, I can't let it go. It's too good. If I take it down, people stop looking at me, and I need everybody to look at me.
Look, I don't even know. By the way, no one knows who the customer is, right? The only reason why this went viral is because Tariq Nasheed posted it, and it remains on Twitter. I don't think he's the customer. I don't know where he got the video. He's the one who posted it. That's how it went viral over the weekend. And the reason why this story has continued to develop is because he refuses to take it down, even though there's been significant backlash and demands for him to take it down. It's awful and cruel to keep that video up. And look, What I also don't like is that Tariq Nasheed's excuse for keeping that video up is because of racism. There's no evidence that this employee is racist. This employee, I haven't seen him or seen any report indicating that he did anything racist, said anything racist. If there's more context that maybe Tariq Nasheed isn't sharing, maybe he should share that. But there's nothing. There's nothing. And so I want to give you more from the employee himself and what he had to say, because later he went on Reddit and he said, "This is not one of my best moments. Mental illness is real and it literally can destroy lives. All I wanted to do was help them, which I couldn't because at that point in my hands were tied, and I'm not a manager, but I'm overworked, right?" And then he says, "But if they pressure me and try to argue with me, I don't know how to handle it usually," right? And if you watch the video, that is what's happening. And despite his moment of distress, the pressure continues. He also said right before he started his recording, "I told him I have a mental illness and I need a moment to think," before he just kept going and going and going and going before it became too much. And listen, customer service jobs are difficult. I know from personal experience, a lot of people know from personal experience. Sometimes you're having a bad day and customers are piling on and it's difficult to keep it cool. Imagine trying to keep it cool when you have two mental health issues, bipolar disorder and schizoaffective disorder. It's just, again, like if we just take a moment, like take a breath and try to think about why someone's reacting the way that they're reacting. But instead of doing that, everyone gets their phones out and everyone starts judging. And so let me get to the Tariq Nasheed part, because he refuses to take it down, as I mentioned. Twitter should take it down, really, but Twitter has remained silent on this issue. And I want to give you 2 tweets from Nasheed. He says, quote, "All that phony outrage and coordinated trolling was used as a smokescreen to allow Holiday Inn to wiggle their way out of being held responsible."
No, it wasn't.
Responsible for what? What exactly are they responsible for?
There's no evidence that the kid even did anything wrong. So what the hell are you talking about? So look, guys, have we covered hundreds of cases of overt racism? And by the way, sometimes implicit racism. Have we explained what white privilege is? Have we done all that here on the Young Turks? To the point where the right wing despises us and they think we do, they accuse us of white racism, hilarious, all this nonsense, right? But that doesn't mean that every charge of racism is true. Of course, you have to use human judgment, right? And so the right wing goes to an obvious extreme. Oh, I never see racism anywhere. Tim Scott yesterday in the response to Biden, no, there's no racism. No, what racism? What are you talking? He explained cases of racism against him. He then accuses progressives of being racist against him, and then he says there's no racism. No, racism is real. Unfortunately, it's overwhelming oftentimes, but false charges of racism hurt tremendously. Okay, because it allows all those right wingers to go, oh yeah, it's all like Tariq Nasheed. Yeah, I saw the video. The poor kid didn't do anything wrong, and he's sobbing, and the guy has no sympathy for him. Okay, and so it's counterproductive. And do we have to use judgment to? And again, with the standard when we had the Me Too movement, believe the woman means don't disbelieve the woman automatically, which is what they used to do in the past. It doesn't mean every allegation is by definition true. That's absurd. And no progressive would ever think that, because we actually believe in a fair justice system and being fair just in general in society, right? And giving people an opportunity and actually looking at the evidence. Here, they have no evidence of racism at all. And they have an evidence of whoever shot the film and then Tariq Nasheed for putting it out of being incredibly callous towards this person. And now finally, I want to say one thing. Look, the body cameras and then everybody shooting the footage has been amazing and has brought accountability we never had in this country. And again, the person who shot the video of George Floyd being killed by Derek Chauvin did an enormous service to our society. So, but a good thing, always the pendulum swings too far, right? Even with a great thing. So now this is evidence of it beginning to swing too far, okay? Now everybody wants to catch something bad on tape so they can get famous. And now, for the first time, I'm beginning to see people pushing it. and creating things that aren't really there.
Yeah, I mean, look, when we talk about cancel culture, I think that it's a nuanced topic because I don't agree with those who reject that cancel culture exists. I also don't agree with those who consider everything cancel culture. Like Barry Weiss is like, I'm a victim of cancel culture. No, you're not. You're privileged. You're still working. You're doing fine. But cancel culture in a form does exist, and usually it overwhelmingly negatively impacts average people who have no power. And this is an example of that. The person filming it was hoping that everyone would watch that video and this kid, essentially, I don't know how old he is, but he looks like a kid, is gonna get canceled. Everyone's gonna pile on him. And we have to ask ourselves, what is it that makes people, what makes us wanna see that happen? Why do we want to enjoy that kind of public backlash or outrage toward, in this case, a private individual, right? He's just a worker at a Holiday Inn.
Yeah, and guys, so often, this is a general fact about all politics and all the conversations we have, everybody falls into camps, right? So either everything is racist or nothing is racist. No, the reality is you gotta use judge, it's so obvious, right? Either you should film everything, you should film nothing. You should have no judgment, including the people with power who break the law all the time, or you should have extreme judgment all the time. Oh, the kid had a bad day and he's got a mental illness and he's smashing the computer with his own head and sobbing uncontrollably. No, we judge you, we judge you. No, don't judge that kid, Jesus Christ. Don't you have any sense at all? So no, we're a rare show that actually asks you to use your mind. And we believe in you, and we believe you could make the right judgment calls. And part of our job is to present the facts to you and say, oh, okay, not everything is simple, not everything is binary, not everything is black and white. And it turns out you could have big general phenomenon of, for example, horrific racism in the country, historically and today, but still have some things not be racist. And same for sexism, same for all of these issues. Please use your minds. It's not too much to ask for. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.